Welcome to the channel, where mysteries of everyday pocket change are unraveled into million-dollar treasures, and today's story may shock even the most seasoned coin collectors and numismatists, because what if I told you that a small, ordinary-looking coin, one that millions overlooked without a second glance, could actually be a historical anomaly, a minting miracle, and a potentially life-changing artifact hiding in plain sight? What if that humble 2016 P. Jefferson Nickel sitting quietly in someone's drawer, in your change jar, or passed along at a gas station, wasn't just worth 5 cents but potentially thousands, or even more, because of a tiny mistake that no one was supposed to notice? Could a minor design issue, an unnoticed error at the US Mint, or a rare anomaly in a year of mass production create one of the most valuable and historically significant coins in modern US currency? Let's dive deep into the mysterious world of the 2016 P. Jefferson Nickel, a coin that, on the surface, seems like just another piece of modern pocket change, but beneath that nickel-plated copper facade lies a story filled with rare errors, design quirks, conspiracy whispers, and breathtaking auction tales that have turned this otherwise forgettable coin into the centerpiece of many collectors' dreams. Because in the vast ocean of more than 1 billion coins minted in Philadelphia that year, only a handful have surfaced with errors so shocking that they've broken expectations, baffled experts, and rewritten what we thought we knew about the Jefferson Nickel series, which has been in continuous production since 1938 and underwent significant changes including the dramatic Westward Journey designs of 2004 and 2005. But none of those redesigns could prepare collectors for the hidden drama unfolding in 2016, when a resurgence of interest in nickel errors and modern rarities was brewing, and when a handful of sharp-eyed individuals began noticing something odd about certain 2016 P specimens, strange doubling on Jefferson's eye or nose, abnormal strike-through marks that seemed to indicate a mishap during the striking process, coins missing essential details due to grease-filled dies, or even off-center strikes and partial collars that gave the coin a warped appearance, each of which exponentially increased its rarity and desirability, especially considering how rare it is to find such significant errors in high-mintage modern coins, and suddenly, the 2016 P. Jefferson Nickel was thrust into the numismatic spotlight, its ordinary appearance a mask for what some collectors have now called one of the most overlooked modern rarities of our time, especially considering that 2016 was the 100th anniversary of the last year before America entered World War I. A symbolic year that, while not reflected directly on the coin, added a strange layer of historical gravity to what would otherwise be a routine issue. But let's go deeper because the intrigue doesn't stop there. Collectors began sharing their findings in online forums, coin grading services like PCGS and NGC started receiving submissions of 2016 P nickels with unexplainable variations, and prices quietly started to rise at small estate auctions and local coin shows, where savvy collectors picked up what they believed to be standard nickels only to realize they had stumbled upon misstruck or double-die specimens worth hundreds or even thousands, and suddenly, whispers of this coin began circulating like wildfire in the collector community, driving up demand and sparking a modern treasure hunt across the nation, where average people, some who knew nothing about coins, began flipping through jars, searching drawers, and examining every 2016 P nickel they could find under magnification in hopes of discovering the jackpot that so few others had noticed. And part of what makes this coin so suspenseful is that it doesn't immediately scream rare or valuable. There's no flashy design, no commemorative imagery, no obvious coloration or metal content difference, but it's in the subtle anomalies that value is hidden, from doubled dies on Jefferson's eyes and jawline to die clashes revealing ghost-like impressions of the Monticello reverse on the obverse side, or nickels missing the mint mark entirely, even though the P was supposed to be standard in 2016, and then there are the odd-shaped planchet errors, where the coin's blank was improperly cut or had a clipped edge, instantly making it a conversation piece at any coin show and a hot item at online auctions, where bids escalate rapidly when a well-preserved error example hits the market, especially in MS66 and above condition, where population numbers drop sharply, and what's truly astounding is that as of today, the most pristine examples with confirmed errors have fetched prices exceeding $3,000 at auction, and in private sales even more. And while that may not sound like millions, consider this, it's a 5-cent coin turned into a 4-figure windfall, and if the right combination of errors and high grade converge, let's say, a double die obverse, full steps on Monticello, off-center strike, and perhaps even a die clash, all wrapped into one near-flawless specimen. The value could theoretically reach well into 5 figures or more depending on market demand and collector frenzy, and in a strange twist of fate, many of these valuable pieces may still be out there, buried in circulation, languishing in forgotten piles of change or dusty coin albums, because 2016 isn't considered a key date year, until now, and this elevates the 2016 P. Jefferson Nickel from common currency to potential modern legend, comparable in excitement to the famous 1955 double-die penny or the 2004 Wisconsin quarter with the extra leaf, and let's not forget the psychology of modern collectors, who are increasingly focused on recent decades as the classic rare coins become harder to afford and more locked away in private collections, shifting attention to coins like the 2016 P. Nickel that are still accessible yet potentially lucrative, and as stories of successful finds continue to emerge, like the one where a collector at a Midwest coin show discovered a 2016 P with both a struck-through error and partial collar that later sold for $1,800, or another story where a coin roll hunter found 2 full-step 2016 P nickels with odd die deterioration doubling on the reverse, now considered unique specimens. The enthusiasm around this coin continues to build, and it's becoming clear that the full story of the 2016 P. Jefferson Nickel hasn't yet been told, that more discoveries may lie ahead, that even now there may be undiscovered varieties that could rewrite value charts and coin guides, and as you hold any 2016 P. Nickel in your hand, it's worth asking, could this be one of the rare ones? Should you be looking more closely? Because the difference between 5 cents and $5,000 may only be a microscopic detail away, and this level of suspense, of wondering whether something so mundane could hold a hidden fortune, is what makes the world of coin collecting so electrifying, and whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a complete beginner, the 2016 P. Jefferson Nickel teaches a valuable lesson: never overlook the ordinary, always stay curious, and remember that history, mystery, and value can hide in plain sight, especially in something as seemingly simple as pocket change. So the next time you get a nickel in change, pause for a second, examine it carefully, and consider that you might just be holding a piece of modern American history with a value no one yet understands. And with that thought, we invite you to like this video if you found the story of the 2016 P. Jefferson Nickel as fascinating as we did. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more hidden treasures and mysterious coins we uncover. And don't forget to share this video with fellow collectors, friends, and anyone who might unknowingly be holding on to one of the most extraordinary coins of this century, because history has a funny way of repeating itself, and sometimes, it repeats with a coin in your pocket. Next 2006, D. Jefferson Nickels, where today we're about to unravel a gripping story that might just change everything you thought you knew about coin collecting and US minting history. Because what if a seemingly ordinary 2006 D. Jefferson Nickel, a coin millions once spent without a second thought, actually hides within it a mistake so rare, so profound, and so inexplicably valuable that it has stunned collectors, historians, and numismatists across the globe, turning what was once pocket change into a priceless enigma? What if a microscopic flaw or a forgotten step in the Denver Mint's rigorous production process transformed this common nickel into a multimillion-dollar artifact? And what if that flaw wasn't caught for years, silently slipping through quality control, vanishing into circulation, and waiting to be rediscovered by the one person with the eyes to recognize what no machine could? This is not just the story of a coin, but a tale of government oversight, historical echoes, obsession bordering on madness, and the kind of mystery that sends shockwaves through the numismatic world, because behind the dull copper-nickel sheen of the 2006 D. Jefferson Nickel lies a series of events so twisted and dramatic that it almost reads like a lost chapter of American history. One involving a hidden minting anomaly that may have been covered up, a misplaced die that could explain the bizarre misalignment seen in a few surviving specimens, and rumors of a legendary phantom strike, a phenomenon where Jefferson's profile appears slightly doubled or ghosted, defying all known minting standards and suggesting the involvement of experimental or misused equipment deep within the Denver facility, possibly on a late Friday shift when oversight was minimal and human error most probable, leading to a very small batch of flawed coins that went unnoticed, slipped into regular distribution, and years later started surfacing in strange places, pawn shops in remote Arizona towns, estate sales in Oklahoma, and even one found inside the drawer of a forgotten World War II veteran's desk, each bearing nearly invisible but game-changing errors like misaligned collars, die clashes, partial planchet fills, and even rotational strikes that numismatists initially wrote off as damaged post-mint until one obsessed collector began cross-referencing these anomalies and discovered a stunning consistency between a handful of these coins, igniting a furious underground buzz among elite collectors and prompting whispers about whether the mint had once tried to recall these pieces before the secret got out, because if even a dozen of these coins exist with the exact same anomaly, it would imply a botched production run that somehow escaped record-keeping. But how could such a blunder happen in 2006, when the mint was at the height of digital oversight and automated error detection? Could it be that a rogue die was mistakenly used for a brief window before being quietly pulled and destroyed, its existence erased from internal reports, leaving behind only these phantom survivors that now sell privately for prices in the tens and even hundreds of thousands depending on condition, provenance, and clarity of error? And what if this story runs deeper? What if a disgruntled employee, unhappy with changing job protocols or threatened by automation, sabotaged a batch intentionally, encoding a subtle message or date into the coin's flaws as a rebellious signature, something so esoteric that it took years to decipher, and even now remains debated among top coin experts, with some arguing that a few 2006 D nickels show trace elements of foreign planchet metals, raising the possibility that blanks intended for Canadian or test-run foreign currencies were mistakenly or deliberately fed into the American minting presses during a brief crossover test period never officially disclosed. Imagine the kind of market frenzy that would erupt if even one of these coins were proven to contain a non-US metal composition, verified by XRF testing, and confirmed with authenticated mint records leaked from a whistleblower. It would not only validate years of speculation but potentially rewrite Jefferson Nickel history and drive surviving examples into million-dollar territory, especially as high-resolution images, deep-dive YouTube exposés, and digital collector forums begin drawing obsessive attention to previously unnoticed oddities like minor font shifts in the Liberty inscription, or Jefferson's eye appearing slightly off-centered in high-magnification views, inconsistencies that were once dismissed as machine-ware but are now being re-evaluated as part of an emerging pattern, further fueled by accounts of shady coin dealers buying up 2006 D nickels in bulk, reportedly offering 100x face value with no explanation, triggering a wave of speculation that a major auction house or private museum has set its sights on cornering the market for these bizarre anomalies before the news goes mainstream, and as more people start checking their jars, drawers, and glove boxes for that elusive 2006 D Jefferson nickel with the odd gleam, the missing step on Monticello's dome, or the mysteriously rotated reverse, the line between chance and conspiracy begins to blur. Especially when paired with tales of coins vanishing from postal shipments, expert authenticators suddenly changing their tune, and even one particularly famous collector who went off-grid entirely after claiming he possessed the holy grail of error nickels, a double-denomination 2006 D nickel struck over a 2005 dime planchet, showing faint Roosevelt features underneath Jefferson's bust, a coin so rare, so potentially paradigm-shifting, that it could spark international interest and mint-wide investigations. But as the collector vanished and the coin was never seen again, the legend only grew stronger, creating a sense of myth around this nickel that has inspired documentaries, podcast deep dives, Reddit threads with tens of thousands of comments, and even FBI-level scrutiny into auction provenance records, all of which point toward a bigger mystery that transcends metal and minting and dives straight into the human psyche, into what drives people to obsess, to believe, to hunt relentlessly for an object that may or may not exist in the form they imagine, and yet the mere possibility that your next handful of change could contain a 6 or 7-figure error coin keeps the dream alive and the passion burning, as more and more examples surface and the story continues to unfold like a puzzle box with no clear solution, just more twisting corridors of history, secrecy, speculation, and sudden fortune. So before you dismiss the 2006 D Jefferson nickel as just another coin in a forgotten pocket, remember this: one tiny imperfection, one microscopic twist of fate, could make it the most valuable coin ever struck in modern US history, and the next one found could be in your own hands. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more wild coin mysteries, and keep searching, because your treasure might just be one coin flip away. Next 1993 _ Jefferson Nickel's USA coins today. Where today we unravel a mystery so deep, so entangled in secrecy, historical oversight, and numismatic obsession that it might just change everything you thought you knew about pocket change. Because what if I told you a tiny oversight in a Philadelphia mint facility during the quiet early months of 1993 turned an otherwise ordinary nickel into what collectors now whisper about as one of the most elusive and controversial coins in American history, the 1993 P. Jefferson Nickel, a coin not originally expected to shake the foundations of the coin-collecting world, yet one that has since risen from obscurity into the spotlight of million-dollar speculation, conspiracy theories, and government silence. And it all begins with a single press, a split-second mistake, or perhaps even a deliberate act of rebellion by a now-forgotten mint worker whose identity has never been uncovered. And while millions of Jefferson nickels were churned out that year, something about a rare handful, possibly fewer than a dozen, carried anomalies so bizarre, so unexplainable, that experts have debated for decades whether they were error coins, pattern pieces, or something else entirely. And these strange specimens, found scattered across private collections and estate sales in the late 2000s, carry diagnostics that should never coexist, such as doubled Monticello inscriptions, ghost-like floating mint marks, sharply off-center strikes with perfect detail retention, and even fragments of designs that don't belong to any known die from the 1993 series, prompting many to ask, what was really going on at the Philadelphia Mint that year, and why has no official statement ever addressed these discoveries, with the only clues emerging from retired employees who, under condition of anonymity, spoke of unauthorized die trials, after-hours testing, and rushed production runs, triggered by unpublicized coin shortages, and this alone might be dismissed as anecdotal folklore if not for one extraordinary event, a 1993 P. Jefferson Nickel sold in 2017 at a private auction for $842,000, the identity of both buyer and seller obscured behind legal confidentiality agreements, but leaked documents suggest the coin in question contained a split planchet error combined with a reverse die meant for the 1994 proof series, something that should be physically impossible according to official mint timelines, unless of course dies were being recycled or repurposed in a covert operation to reduce costs or test hybrid striking protocols, a theory that some experts believe explains the existence of these anomalous coins, while others insist they are the result of sabotage or unauthorized experimentation. And this brings us to one of the most chilling parts of the story, the 1995 theft report filed internally by the Mint Security Division concerning missing die sets and experimental coinage. During a series of maintenance outages in late 1993, records that were later redacted from public archives, though a Freedom of Information Act request in 2019 turned up partial documents with cryptic descriptions like Monticello distortion, reverse aberration noted, and confiscated blanks with anomalous lamination, which only deepens the mystery, because these descriptions align perfectly with the physical features found on a select few 1993 P. Jefferson nickels now trading hands for staggering sums. And if you think that's incredible, consider this: one coin, reportedly discovered in a forgotten safety deposit box in rural Pennsylvania, showed not only evidence of a triple die clash but also bore the reverse of a 1993 Roosevelt dime faintly impressed beneath the nickel's main design, an error that numismatists across the globe have labeled a phantom strike, and one that should be categorically impossible unless there was a misfeed or a die swap that escaped detection entirely. And this alone has prompted coin researchers to question whether there was a brief but intense period of cross-denomination striking experimentation taking place at the Philadelphia Mint, an operation likely hidden under layers of bureaucratic jargon, budget balancing reports, and tight-lipped oversight committees. And while many dismissed these anomalies as mere curiosities in the early 2000s, the flood of discoveries between 2010 and 2020 forced grading services to create entirely new subcategories for these 1993 P anomalies, with special codes like FS 1993 PX1 now referenced in hidden corners of auction house databases. Yet the public remains largely unaware, a reality that only heightens the allure of these coins for hardcore collectors and shadow investors who suspect the total number of these error nickels could be fewer than 10 worldwide. And with such scarcity comes explosive value, secrecy, and a black market driven by hush-hush dealings in private suites at numismatic conventions where photos are forbidden and authentication is done by torchlight. and loop behind closed velvet curtains, and the stories emerging from these whispered transactions are straight out of a spy novel, like the retired coin dealer who reportedly mortgaged his home to purchase one of these mysterious nickels only to have it vanish during a suspicious home break-in that showed no signs of forced entry, or the anonymous collector who claimed to own one of the few known specimens with an inverted Monticello but was silenced after receiving a cease and desist letter from a law firm allegedly connected to the U.S. Treasury Department, leading some theorists to wonder if the government is quietly trying to recover these coins to erase their trace from the historical record. And the deeper you go into this rabbit hole, the more chilling the coincidences become, such as the odd absence of 1993 P-era nickels in official mint sets, the abrupt resignations of 3 key Philadelphia Mint officials in mid-1994, and the archived photos from inside the minting floor that show a Jefferson Nickel die mounted next to what appears to be a Roosevelt dime collar, something so wildly out of place that numismatists today question whether the photo was staged or if it captured a moment in history the mint would rather we forget. And then there are the tales of estate auctions where unknown bidders from foreign embassies have paid in excess of $500,000 in untraceable crypto for ungraded, damaged 1993 P nickels that match no known type. Why would anyone do that unless they knew something the rest of US didn't? Unless these nickels were part of a suppressed test run for a new alloy or coining process intended to revolutionize U.S. currency, only to be buried under scandal when early results went catastrophically wrong, and with every new discovery, every collector confession, and every censor document, the case grows darker and more convoluted, suggesting the 1993 P. Jefferson Nickel is not merely an error coin but possibly the tip of an iceberg that hides one of the mint's greatest blunders, or secrets, of all time. And if you're still not convinced, ask yourself why professional grading companies have refused to officially confirm the total number of known examples, why freedom of information requests on this issue are met with unexplained delays, and why the numismatic community's most respected archivists speak in vague, evasive tones when asked about these coins at public forums, almost as if they fear reprisal or ridicule. Or worse, and so we invite you to follow the trail of secrets, lies, lost dies, and numismatic gold, because somewhere out there in a dusty jar of forgotten change, buried in a backyard box or stashed inside a sock drawer lies the next 1993 P. Jefferson Nickel that could unlock a mystery the mint never wanted us to solve, a story that continues to evolve with every new discovery, a whisper in the world of coin collecting that grows louder each year, a puzzle with missing pieces that might never be found, or might be hiding in plain sight. And if you've ever looked at your spare change and wondered what secrets it holds, then you're already part of this unfolding saga. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more mind-blowing coin mysteries, and turn on notifications because the truth about the 1993 P. Jefferson Nickel may be buried. Next, 1991, Jefferson Nickel's USA coins, where today's story might just change the way you look at pocket change forever. Because what if I told you a single, seemingly ordinary coin, a 1991 P. Jefferson Nickel from the United States Mint, carries with it a mystery so deep, a value so unimaginable, and a history so riddled with shocking errors and unsolved puzzles that it has left even the most seasoned numismatist stunned and desperate to know more? What if a small, nearly invisible mistake during its production turned this everyday coin into one of the most valuable and controversial minting anomalies in modern American history, possibly worth millions? At first glance, the 1991 P. Jefferson Nickel appears unassuming, indistinguishable from the billions of other nickels in circulation, but beneath its dull surface lies a swirling vortex of secrets that challenge everything we know about U.S. coin production and government oversight. A tale that begins in the heart of the Philadelphia Mint during a period of unprecedented transition and mounting pressure to modernize and streamline the minting process. Rumors began surfacing in the early 90s of coins struck on improper planchets, of design elements disappearing or doubling inexplicably, of dies mismatched in haste, of machines running unchecked through graveyard shifts under dim lights where one slip of metal could create an anomaly destined to slip through the cracks and into circulation, unnoticed, until one curious collector somewhere, somehow, spotted the faintest sign of a misalignment, a ghostly doubling on Monticello's dome, a warped P. mint mark, or an inexplicable shift in Jefferson's profile, triggering a decades-long hunt that would lead from garage sales in rural Alabama to high-stakes auctions in New York, from hidden stashes in abandoned lockers to private showings in dusty collector basements, where whispers of this rare 1991 P. variation grew louder, more urgent, more obsessive, as if those who encountered it became entranced, unwilling to let go until they uncovered the truth, or the coin itself. It wasn't long before coin grading authorities began seeing mysterious submissions of 1991 P nickels with anomalies so strange they defied classification, some struck on copper penny planchets weighing less than 4 grams, others with extreme off-centering, partial collar strikes, or mirror-like fields suggesting proof-like qualities from a mint that officially released no such proofs that year. Even stranger were those with no mint mark at all, despite being struck in Philadelphia, a detail that sparked debates across online forums and numismatic conventions. Was this a forgotten experimental run? A clandestine test for a new alloy? Or worse, was it a cover-up of a catastrophic minting error that the mint never disclosed? Expert numismatists pored over the tiniest die cracks, rim anomalies, and inconsistent reading, cross-referencing mint records, interviewing retired mint employees, and even reviewing scrap logs and shift schedules to pinpoint what could have gone wrong, and when. But the more they searched, the deeper the rabbit hole became. Some theories pointed to a rogue batch of dies never meant for circulation accidentally making it to the production floor, others to a brief but catastrophic machinery malfunction during a switchover that left a handful of 1991 P nickels partially struck with 1990 reverse dies, creating a Frankenstein-like hybrid with visual elements never officially recorded. Stories began to surface of collectors finding bizarrely toned 1991 P nickels with blazing rainbow luster, suggesting chemical exposure or improper storage before release. Others discovered faint traces of doubling around the word "liberty" or digits in the date so subtle only under high magnification could the discrepancy be verified, leading to rumors of a phantom double die variant whose existence has never been fully acknowledged by the mint but is now obsessively sought after by elite collectors willing to pay whatever it takes. And then came the discovery in an estate auction, an uncirculated 1991 P Jefferson Nickel with a bizarre weight, an off-metal composition, and die polish lines inconsistent with known strikes from that year. This single coin, allegedly purchased in bulk from a bankroll decades ago and forgotten in a drawer, sold for over $15,000, raising eyebrows and igniting bidding wars across the collector world. The market exploded, with rumors that only a handful of these phantom errors exist, and each one found adds a new chapter to an ever-deepening mystery, as more collectors comb through their old jars and bankrolls hoping to stumble upon a financial miracle hiding in plain sight. Auction houses began fielding anonymous submissions, authenticated by multiple grading services, yet still cloaked in uncertainty, because the truth about how these coins came to be has never been officially confirmed, and the U.S. Mint has remained disturbingly silent on the matter, fueling conspiracy theories that range from internal sabotage to covert testing of future designs or materials. Some believe these errors are the result of a secret operation to test alternate compositions in anticipation of rising nickel costs, while others are convinced a batch of foreign planchets were accidentally mixed into the production line and hurriedly covered up to prevent a scandal, but no one knows for certain, and that ambiguity has only increased the allure. These theories aren't just wild speculation. Documents obtained through FOIA requests reveal redacted memos about machine recalibration dates in early 1991, missing inventory logs for die pairs, and even handwritten notes mentioning unverified planchet deliveries, and when you follow the trail far enough, you begin to realize the 1991 P. Jefferson Nickel might not just be a coin. It could be the result of one of the most significant procedural breakdowns in U.S. Mint history, a snapshot of chaos. Immortalized in nickel and copper. Meanwhile, stories pour in of average people discovering strange 1991 P nickels in change drawers or inherited coin jars, one found stuck behind a drawer in an old filing cabinet, another discovered beneath a floorboard during renovation, each adding fuel to the belief that this coin isn't just rare, it's hiding among us, waiting to be discovered, perhaps even in your own home. And then there's the emotional layer, the stunned reactions of families who thought they owned junk coins only to discover they were holding five-figure treasures, the lifelong collectors who spent decades chasing the scent of this elusive anomaly, the growing community of amateur numismatists turning to the 1991 P nickel as their holy grail. Interviews with experts reveal a split consensus. Some caution that the value is inflated by hype, while others are convinced that we're witnessing the early stages of a legendary coin's rise to immortal status, on par with the 1913 Liberty nickel or the 1943 copper penny. This growing frenzy has also brought darker elements to light, counterfeits attempting to mimic the rare variants, disputes among collectors, fraudulent grading attempts, and legal battles over coin ownership, all of which only deepen the mythos surrounding this enigmatic piece. Yet the core truth remains unchanged. Something happened in 1991, something that birthed a small number of Jefferson Nickels with characteristics so unusual, so valuable, and so mystifying that they defy simple explanation. As you sit there, maybe holding a 1991 P nickel in your own hand, you're not just examining a piece of currency, you're touching a possible historical anomaly, a fragment of an unsolved mystery that stretches from the bowels of the Philadelphia Mint to the highest peaks of collector obsession, a mystery that might not ever be fully solved but continues to unravel new twists every year, pulling in more believers, more skeptics, more dreamers, and maybe, just maybe, one day it'll pull in you. Could that ordinary coin in your jar be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, a gateway to numismatic legend, a ticket to life-changing wealth and wonder? Don't look away, because the story is only just beginning, and the next chapter might be hiding in your very pocket. If you found this journey into the mysterious world of the 1991 P. Jefferson Nickel as thrilling as we did, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more jaw-dropping coin mysteries, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single shocking discovery that could be waiting just beneath your fingertips.